Here's the reality. There is a time between when you start something and when you achieve it. Here's the mystery of life. You don't know when you achieve it if the result will come on the second day, or whether the result will come on the 28th day, or whether the result will come 5 years later. But if you'll stay consistent, all of a sudden one day the stars will align. I cannot explain it any clearer than that. If you'll just stay focused, it will come. Get comfortable living a life to some degree of uncertainty, at least temporary. When you can take action with no results, but because it's your love and it's your dream and you believe in it, you go a period of time with no results, you have to trust that in that time, the system is working for you. Now, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. So you got to do things a little bit differently. But one thing that I've done, when you think about all the books that I've written, I write these books without knowing what the end result would be. And then to have one day, Harlan Stonecipher on a Friday morning at 9 a.m. call me up out of the blue and say, thanks for sending me your rough manuscript. I've read it, and I would like to do more than just endorse it. I said, excuse me, sir, what did you say? He says, I'd like to write the foreword to your book. I said, that would be great. Now I'm sitting in my car. Think about where I was at that moment. I wrote a book hoping, getting out of my comfort zone to write that book, even though I wrote it in 2 months. That's pretty fast. It just, I look back on it and think, how did I ever write that book? It was a dark time in my life. And to have him call me and say, I want you to speak at the national convention. I want you to make your books available for everybody. And then 3 weeks later, a check comes to my parents' home, because we were living in the basement of Mom and Dad's house at the time, trying to build the business. A check for something like $60,000 comes to me. How would I have known that? How would have I known that Charlie Tremendous Jones after that would call me up and say, TJ, I'm hearing good things about your book. I got a company that wants to buy $25,000. Can we broker a deal? I said, I'd love to broker a deal. He sent me a check, and then that company got those books. All that came, when I think back on it, was because, number one, I knew what I wanted. I had a vision for it. I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there, but I believed in it enough that I knew if I took action, the answers would come in time. Now, if you're sitting here today and you're sitting on the fence, I just have one little piece of advice for you. When I called Charlie Tremendous Jones late at night, I called him up and I told him my fears. I said, this is my dream, but I have this business here and I'm thinking about going to work for Tony Robbins. I said, what would you do? What would you do, Mr. Jones? And I remember all he told me, which was all he needed to tell me that night. He says, TJ, you were not born to make right or wrong decisions. You were born to make decisions and then make them right.